Are we ready with opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Ms. Duders, have you been watching?
It doesn't matter. She's been watching clips of witness testimony. All right, you're excused, ma'am. You can have your excuse.
When the legal battle between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife came to the U.S., a lot of professionals predicted that Depp would lose the case because of how rigid the American Constitution is on free speech. But to their surprise, Johnny won. And he did it by a landslide. Now, everyone is questioning why he even lost in the UK in the first place, and it has also just been revealed that Amber actually got preferential treatment from the judge over there. And there's a lot more to the story. Interested in knowing just how far Amber went to emerge at the top of that case? Keep watching as I break it down step by step. One of the major conversations that have taken over social media since the Depp Heard case came to an end has been on why the actor actually lost the first time when he brought the case forward in the UK. And while several people made different arguments about the differences in the legal systems, it seems Amber was actually given special treatment. To be specific, people are now talking about some of the factors that came into play in that case, one of which is that Depp had to turn in all of his devices, whereas Amber wasn't obligated to do the same. This made it particularly difficult for the actor to even make a case, when the opposition basically knew every angle he was going to come from. Talk about skewed rules. Well, I know you could easily argue that this wasn't a major factor that determined the outcome of the case, but there's actually a lot more to it, as this was just the tip of the iceberg in the case turning out the way it did. You see, apart from the devices story, it was also revealed after the case was concluded that the judge that presided over it was specially invested in its outcome, as he allegedly had a stake in the publishing house that released the op-ed. And this brings us to another point on why Depp lost there, and that's because the case wasn't directly against Amber, as Depp actually sued the company that published the said op-ed. Although the actress was not named in the British case, she testified over several days as a witness called by The Sun. The British judge ultimately ruled that the allegations against Depp were substantially true, writing in a 2020 ruling that the great majority of alleged assaults have been proved to the civil standard. Well, all this has been the basis of several arguments on social media, and because of that, certain legal experts with years of experience under their belts have come out to give an opinion on what really happened. And one of these experts is Mark Stevens, an international media lawyer familiar with both cases. And he said Depp's legal team in the United States ran a strategy known as DARVO, an acronym for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender, in which Depp became the victim and heard the assaulter. According to him, even though the Virginia case had a much higher standard to cross for Depp's team, that didn't impact the outcome because essentially what we got is a jury believing evidence that a British judge did not accept. So that's where the difference lies here, and usually not in the different legal frameworks. That might explain why Depp lost in the UK, even though he was not required to prove the wife-beater label was false. Rather, under British law, the publication had to prove that Depp was in fact a wife-beater. All of this, coupled with the fact that Depp wasn't particularly favored in the UK case, had a lot of fans talking on social media. And unlike the expert, a lot of them were uncaught while giving their opinions. One user wrote, "Seems pretty sinister and not precisely the behavior of an innocent person. All she needed to do in order to admit her mountain of evidence is provided during discovery." She kept using the word evidence. I think she means that we should just take her at her word. Another user revealed that the actress was actually asked to turn in her devices, but chose not to. They wrote, "I heard about her failing to turn over all her electronic devices despite 7 orders requesting these items from the plaintiff and them asking to impose sanctions due to that, but do not know what became of that motion." Well, looking back at her victory over Johnny in the UK, it's obvious that not only did she cheat her way there, but she didn't actually make anything from it. And now she has to pay the actor over $10 million in damages. Talk about fate, right? Anyway, tell us what you think about the differences in the outcome of both cases and how Amber managed to cheat her way through the first one.